Welcome back to the Raven Files. Tonight the blood moon rises again and another forbidden name appears from the shadows. If you have followed the blood moon trials from the beginning, you already know one thing in room 8. Oh, one, no message is harmless, no name is random, and no door opens without a price. Now turn down the lights, stay close to the screen, and enter part 3, the 5th name. The phone did not fall from Lin Yan's hand. It should have. Her fingers had gone cold, her wrist had lost all strength, and the corridor around her had begun to tilt as if the building itself were sinking into deep water. But the cracked phone stayed pressed against her palm, glowing with a red light that crawled between the broken lines of the screen like blood searching for a wound. On the screen beneath the title, Final Participants, the 5th name had appeared, Lin Yan. For a long moment she could not breathe. The rain outside the window struck the glass in thin silver lines, and beyond it, the blood moon watched the apartment building like an open eye. Somewhere behind her, room 802 stood with its door half open, though she knew that door had not existed in her apartment hallway before tonight. Yehan stood several steps away, half hidden in the shadow where the blue emergency light flickered. He looked calm, almost sorrowful, but his face was too pale under the red glow of the phone. His eyes were fixed not on Lin Yan, but on the name on her screen, as if he had been waiting years to see it appear. Lin Yan forced herself to speak. "Why is my name there?" Yehan did not answer at once. The corridor around them gave a low groan as if pipes were moving inside the walls. Then from the open doorway of room 802, a soft dripping sound began again. Water on tile, step, water on tile, step. The ghost girl in the soaked white school uniform had returned. She stood just inside the doorway, her long black hair plastered over half her face. Her feet were bare. Water gathered around her ankles and spread across the floor, but it did not flow naturally. It moved toward Lin Yan in slow, careful lines like fingers reaching for her shoes. Lin Yan backed away. "Stay there." The ghost girl tilted her head. Her lips moved, but no sound came out. Then Lin Yan's phone vibrated once. A new message appeared in the ghost chat. Room 802. The 5th name has answered. Lin Yan's throat tightened. I didn't answer anything. Another message appeared. Room 801. Silence is also an answer. Yehan finally moved. He stepped between Lin Yan and the doorway, and the spreading water stopped just before his shoes. For the first time since Lin Yan had met him, the faint smile was gone from his face. "Do not reply," he said. Lin Yan stared at him. "That is your advice now after everything. Do not reply. My name is on the list." "I know." You know, her fear bent into anger so sharply that her voice cracked. "You knew this would happen." Yehan's eyes lowered. In the red moonlight, his shadow still did not appear on the floor. Everyone else had a shadow in that hallway. Lin Yan had one. The ghost girl had one, though it trembled under the water like a drowned thing. Yehan had none. "I hoped it would not," he said. Lin Yan gave a broken laugh. "You hoped? That is what you have been doing. Hoping while I walked into every trap." Yehan looked at the ghost girl in room 802. "This is not the same trial." The phone vibrated again. Unknown. The 5th name must return to the original room. The words froze the hallway. Original room. Lin Yan remembered the phrase from the second trial from whispers in broken walls and messages that vanished before she could take screenshots. Room 801 had been called a door. Room 802 had been called a mirror. But the original room had always been mentioned like a place no one should name. She looked at Ye Han. What is the original room? Before he could answer, every light in the corridor went out. Darkness swallowed the hallway with the violence of a door slamming shut. The red glow from Lin Yan's phone became the only light left staining Ye Han's face, the walls, and the ghost girl's wet uniform. Then the ceiling lights flickered back on one by one, but the apartment hallway was gone. Lin Yan was standing in a dormitory corridor. The walls were old green paint peeling in long strips. Rusted metal doors lined both sides. The floor was wet, and somewhere far away a girl was crying behind a locked door. The window at the end of the corridor was broken, and through it the giant blood moon hung low over a campus Lin Yan had never seen before. But she knew it. Not from memory, from nightmares she had never told anyone about. A cracked wooden sign hung above the staircase. South River Girls' Dormitory Building C. Lin Yan took one step back. No. Ye Han looked down the corridor, and for the first time something like fear passed across his face. It was small and controlled, but Lin Yan saw it. This is not a vision, he said quietly. The ghost girl from room 802 stood behind them now, no longer inside a doorway. She pointed down the corridor with one pale hand. At the far end stood a door. 801. The number was scratched into the metal, not painted. Around it the wall had black burn marks in the shape of fingers. The door handle was wrapped in red thread, so much red thread that it looked like veins had grown around the lock. Lin Yan's phone vibrated again. Trial announcement returned to where the fifth name began. Lin Yan stared at the message until the words blurred. Where my name began, Ye Han turned to her. Lin Yan, listen carefully. Whatever you see inside that room, do not trust it immediately. The room shows truth, but never the whole truth. It shows memory, but never who owns it. She looked at him, anger still burning under her fear. And should I trust you? He was silent. The answer hurt more than a lie would have. Lin Yan walked past him. Every step toward room 801 made the phone grow warmer in her hand. The corridor stretched longer than it should have, as if the door were moving away from her. Behind the closed dormitory doors, whispers rose and faded. She saw the fifth name. She came back. She does not remember. She was chosen before she was born. Lin Yan stopped. What did they say? Ye Han was behind her close enough that his voice reached her without echo. Do not answer them. But one whisper was not like the others. It came from directly beside her from behind door 796. Lin Yan, a girl whispered. You promised you would not forget me. Lin Yan's stomach clenched. Her hand moved toward the handle before she realized what she was doing. Ye Han caught her wrist. His fingers were cold. Do not open any door except 801, he said. Lin Yan pulled away. Who is she? A memory that wants a body. That is not an answer. It is the safest one I can give you. The door beside them trembled. Something pressed against it from the other side. The wood cracked around the frame, and a thin stream of black water leaked from underneath, carrying a small white hair clip. Lin Yan stared at the hair clip. It was shaped like a crescent moon. She had seen it before. Not in her apartment, not in the chat, not in the hallway. In an old photo. A photo from her childhood that her mother had once torn in half. The memory came so suddenly that Lin Yan almost staggered. She was 6 years old, sitting on a hospital bed, her head bandaged, her mother crying in the corner. A doctor asked her if she remembered the fire. Lin Yan had said no. Her mother had looked relieved. That relief had frightened Lin Yan more than the bandage, more than the smell of medicine, more than the pain behind her eyes. The memory vanished. Lin Yan looked at Ye Han. I was here before. Ye Han did not deny it. The door to room 801 clicked. The red thread around the handle loosened by itself, strand by strand, falling to the wet floor like dead worms. The door opened inward with a slow metal scream. Inside was darkness. Then a girl's voice spoke from within. Welcome back, fifth name. Lin Yan did not move. Ye Han stepped forward first, but an invisible force threw him backward. He hit the wall hard enough to crack the peeling paint. Lin Yan spun toward him, but he lifted one hand, warning her not to come closer. The phone screen turned black. Then 5 names appeared one by one. Chen Ruo, Jiang Min, Luo Qian, Ye Han, Lin Yan. Underneath them a 6th line appeared. Judge unassigned. Lin Yan's breath caught. Judge. The ghost girl in the soaked uniform stood at the doorway, watching Lin Yan with eyes that were no longer empty. They were full of desperate expectation. Ye Han pushed himself up against the wall. Lin Yan, do not step inside. The voice from the room spoke again. It was soft, patient, almost kind. The 5th name must enter willingly. Lin Yan looked into the darkness. What happens if I don't? The answer came from the phone. Refusal penalty. The 4th name will be erased. Lin Yan turned to Ye Han. He looked away too late. Her voice dropped. You are the 4th name. Ye Han said nothing. The phone vibrated again. Countdown 0059. A red timer appeared on the screen. Lin Yan's heart slammed against her ribs. 59 seconds. 58. 57. The hallway lights flickered with each number and the walls seemed to breathe. She looked at Ye Han. What does erased mean? His face had become completely still. It means I will no longer have existed. That is not death. No, he said. It is worse. 51 seconds. Lin Yan looked into room 801. She thought about all the times Ye Han had appeared when the trials closed around her. She thought about his lies, his silence, his impossible knowledge. She thought about the way the ghost girl had looked at him, not like a stranger, but like someone who had once betrayed her or tried to save her and failed. 42 seconds. Tell me the truth, Lin Yan said. Were you one of them? Ye Han's eyes lifted to hers. Yes. The word fell between them like a key dropped into deep water. 36 seconds. Lin Yan swallowed. And did you die here? Ye Han looked toward room 801. Not completely. 31 seconds. The phone flashed. The 5th name must choose. Lin Yan's anger, fear, and confusion all pressed against one another until there was no room left to think. She had spent the last 2 nights running from rooms' doors, names, messages, and ghosts. Every time she thought she had found an answer, the answer opened its mouth and swallowed her deeper. 21 seconds. She looked at Ye Han, and for 1 second she saw not the pale, elegant man in the dark coat, but a younger boy in a school uniform standing in smoke. His hand pressed against a burning door. His mouth was moving. He was shouting someone's name. Not Lin Yan's. A girl's name. Ruo. The vision vanished. 13 seconds. Lin Yan stepped toward room 801. Yehan's voice broke. Lin Yan. She stopped at the threshold but did not look back. If I go in, she asked, will I find out who I am in this story? Behind her, Yehan answered very quietly, yes. 3 seconds. Lin Yan entered room 801. The door slammed shut behind her. Room 801 was not a dormitory room. At first it looked like one. 4 metal bunk beds stood against the walls, their frames rusted and bent. A desk sat under the window covered in old textbooks swollen by water. On the floor lay scattered exam papers, a broken mirror, a school bag and a single red umbrella. But then the room blinked. The beds became hospital stretchers. The window became a blackboard. The desk became an altar. The altar became a phone screen. Lin Yan staggered, pressing one hand against the nearest wall. The wall was warm. Beneath the cracked paint, something moved like a pulse. A girl stood in the center of the room. She was not the soaked ghost from room 802. This girl wore a clean school uniform. Her long hair was tied back with the crescent moon hair clip. Her face was pale, but not dead. She looked 17, maybe 18, with eyes that were tired in the way living people become tired when they have cried too much and slept too little. Lin Yan knew her name before the girl spoke. Chen Ruo, the first name. Chen Ruo smiled sadly. You look like your mother. Lin Yan froze. You knew my mother. I knew everyone who tried to forget this place. The room flickered. For half a second the girl was burned, soaked, hollow-eyed. Then she was clean again. Lin Yan forced herself to stand straight. Why is my name on the list? Chen Ruo looked toward the window. Outside the blood moon was too large, too close. It filled the entire sky. Because your blood remembered what your mind did not. Lin Yan's mouth went dry. That means nothing. It means the room does not choose strangers. Chen Ruo turned back to her. It chooses debts. The word settled heavily in the air. Debt. Lin Yan looked at the old beds, the water-stained books, the red umbrella. I was a child. Whatever happened here, I did not do it, No Chen Ruo said. You did not. Then why am I here? Chen Ruo's expression changed. Not anger. Not pity. Something worse. Recognition, because someone used your name before you were old enough to write it. Lin Yan felt the room tilt. A sound began behind her. Tap, tap, tap. Someone was writing on glass. Lin Yan turned. The broken mirror on the floor had lifted itself upright against the wall. In its cracked reflection, she did not see herself. She saw a younger woman with the same eyes standing in a dormitory corridor 20 years ago. Her mother! Lin Yan stepped toward the mirror. The reflection moved. Her mother was younger than Lin Yan had ever seen her, wearing a nurse's white coat over plain clothes. Her hair was tied back, her face pale with terror. She carried a 6-year-old girl in her arms. Lin Yan recognized the child, herself. The child's eyes were open but empty, as if she were awake inside a dream. Behind them, smoke filled the corridor. Girls screamed from somewhere beyond the frame. Red emergency lights flashed across the walls, and a door marked 801 stood open behind Lin Yan's mother. A man's voice shouted, "Give her to the room!" Lin Yan's mother clutched the child tighter. No, another voice older and calm answered. The 5th name must be offered or none of us leave. Lin Yan backed away from the mirror. What is this? Chen Ruo's voice was gentle. A memory. Whose memory Chen Ruo did not answer. In the mirror, young Ye Han appeared through the smoke. He was not the same as the man in the dark coat. He looked human then. Younger, frightened, bleeding from one temple. He stood in front of Lin Yan's mother, blocking the corridor. Run, he told her. The man's voice shouted again. Ye Han, move, young! Ye Han did not move. Then the mirror cracked further, cutting the memory into pieces. Lin Yan saw hands reaching for her child's self. She saw her mother fall. She saw a red string tied around the child's wrist. She saw room 801 darken like a mouth. Then she saw Chen Ruo, not as a ghost, as a living girl standing beside the door crying. I'm sorry, Chen Ruo whispered in the memory. I'm so sorry. The mirror went black. Lin Yan could not speak. For years her mother had told her that the scar on her left wrist came from a kitchen accident. A pot of boiling soup, a careless movement, a childhood mistake. But Lin Yan had never believed her completely because the scar had never looked like a burn. It looked like something had been tied there too tightly. She slowly looked down at her wrist. Under the red glow of the phone, the old scar had darkened. A thin red line appeared around it like thread rising from beneath the skin. Chen Ruo watched her. You were not supposed to remember. Did my mother bring me here? She brought you out. That is not what I asked. Chen Ruo's eyes lowered. The room answered instead. The walls shook and the old blackboard appeared where the window had been, chalk scratched across it by itself. Fifth name, Lin Yan. Status reserved. Lin Yan stared at the word. Reserved. Her stomach turned cold. Chen Ruo said the fifth name was not originally yours. Then whose was it? Before Chen Ruo could answer, the room flickered again. The bunks vanished. The altar returned. 5 candles stood on it, 4 burned down to black wax, 1 newly lit and red. Behind the altar sat 5 phones. Old phones. Not smartphones. Small cracked devices from years ago, their screens dim and greenish. Each one displayed a name. Chen Ruo, Jiangmin, Luo Qian, Ye Han. The 5th phone had no name. Its screen was blank. Lin Yan approached it carefully. The room became colder with each step. She could hear whispers rising from the old phones, voices speaking over one another. Don't open the door. She said it was a game. The moon was red that night. We only needed 1 more name. Ye Han lied. Chen Ruo knew. Jiang Min pushed her. Luo Chen laughed. The judge watched. Lin Yan stopped. Who was the judge? All 5 phones went silent. Chen Ruo's face changed. For the first time, she looked truly afraid. Do not ask that inside the room. Lin Yan looked at her. Why? Because the room listens for that question. The 5th phone lit up. No name appeared. Only a symbol, a circle with a line through it. Then the old device rang. The sound was not loud, but it cut through the room so sharply that Lin Yan flinched. The ringtone was childish, cheerful, almost ridiculous, but beneath it she could hear something breathing. Chen Ruo whispered, "Do not answer." Lin Yan stared at the ringing phone. Outside the closed door, something slammed against the metal. Once. Twice. Then Ye Han's voice came faintly from the corridor. Lin Yan, do not touch it. The phone kept ringing. Lin Yan looked at Chen Ruo. Everyone keeps telling me not to answer, but every time I don't answer, someone else pays. Chen Ruo stepped toward her. That is how the room trains you. Trains me for what? Chen Ruo's eyes filled with grief. To judge. The word struck Lin Yan harder than any scream. The fifth phone stopped ringing. All 5 old phones lit up at once. On each screen appeared the same message. The fifth name may become the judge. Lin Yan backed away. No. Chen Ruo moved closer. The room does not only take victims, it creates replacements. Every cycle needs participants, witnesses, and one judge. The judge decides who is guilty enough to stay, who is innocent enough to leave, and who must be offered to keep the door closed. That is insane. Yes, Chen Ruo said. That is why the room survived. The door behind Lin Yan shook again. Ye Han shouted something, but his voice twisted into static before she could understand it. The blood moon outside the window pulsed once, and the room brightened red. Lin Yan turned back to Chen Ruo. Who was the judge before Chen Ruo's mouth opened? No sound came out. Her body flickered violently. For a moment her clean uniform became soaked. Her hair fell over her face. Water poured from her sleeves. Then she steadied herself with visible effort. The room will not let me say it. Lin Yan stepped closer. Then show me. Chen Ruo looked at her for a long moment. Then she reached up and removed the crescent moon hair clip from her hair. The room immediately changed. Lin Yan was no longer standing in room 801. She was standing in a classroom at night. Rain hammered against the windows. The desks had been pushed to the walls, leaving an empty circle in the center of the floor. 5 students stood inside the circle, each holding a phone. Red thread connected their wrist to a bowl of water placed on a wooden stool. Chen Ruo stood among them. Zhang Min, a thin girl with sharp eyes, stood beside her. Luo Qian, shorter and trembling, kept looking toward the door. Ye Han stood near the back jaw, tight, one hand wrapped in a bloodied handkerchief. The 5th place in the circle was empty. At the teacher's desk sat an adult woman. Lin Yan could not see her face. The woman wore a dark coat and her long hair fell forward as she looked down at a notebook. Her hands were clean, calm, and pale. On the notebook cover were the words, Behavior Correction Record. The woman spoke without looking up. One more name. Chen Ruo was crying. Teacher, please, we didn't mean to start it. The woman turned a page. The room has already started. Zhang Min whispered. You said it was only a punishment game. I said, the woman replied, that every room has rules. You chose to test them. Ye Han stepped forward. Let them go. Put my name twice if you need another one. The woman laughed softly. A name cannot be counted twice. A soul can only be weighed once. Lo Qian sobbed. Then who? The woman looked toward the door. Someone outside was crying. A child. Lin Yan's blood went cold. The classroom door opened and her mother entered carrying 6-year-old Lin Yan. No adult, Lin Yan whispered, but the memory did not hear her. Her mother looked younger, terrified and furious. You told me the child could help close it. The woman at the desk finally lifted her head. Lin Yan tried to see her face, but darkness covered it as if the memory itself refused to reveal her. The child can, the woman said. Not by closing it, by belonging to it. Lin Yan's mother stepped back. That was not our agreement. The woman's voice hardened. You work in the infirmary. You saw what happened after the first girl disappeared. You saw what came back wearing her face. You wanted protection for your daughter. This is protection. My daughter is 6, and therefore clean. The woman stood. A clean name can hold what a guilty name cannot. Ye Han lunged toward the woman. The red thread snapped upward from the bowl and wrapped around his throat. He dropped to his knees, choking. Chen Ruo screamed. Jiang Min tried to run, but the classroom door slammed shut. Lin Yan's mother clutched the child and backed toward the door. I won't do it. The woman's hidden face turned toward her. Then the room will choose for you. The bowl of water on the stool began to boil without heat. A phone on the floor lit up. The empty 5th name line blinked. Lin Yan's child self opened her eyes and smiled. Adult Lin Yan stumbled backward in the memory horror spreading through her chest. That smile was not a child's smile. It was old. It was patient. It was waiting. The classroom dissolved. Lin Yan found herself back in room 801, gasping. Chen Ruo stood in front of her with the hair clip in her palm, but now blood leaked from the corner of her mouth. Lin Yan reached for her. What happened to you? The room punishes memory, Chen Ruo whispered. Lin Yan's mind raced. The teacher. She was the judge. Chen Ruo nodded once. Who was she? Chen Ruo trembled. I cannot say her name. Was she my mother? Chen Ruo looked horrified. No. The answer gave Lin Yan only a second of relief before a worse thought came. Then why did my mother know about the room? Chen Ruo looked toward the door. Because she survived the first correction. Before Lin Yan could ask what that meant, the door to room 801 burst open. Ye Han staggered inside. He should not have been able to. The room had thrown him away before. But now he forced himself across the threshold. His dark coat torn at the shoulder, red thread wrapped around his wrists and throat. Each strand burned into him like wire pulled from fire. Chen Ruo stepped back, her face twisting with pain and recognition. You should not be here. Ye Han looked at her. For 1 second, everything in him softened. Ruo, he said. The name was barely more than breath. Chen Ruo's eyes filled with tears. You still remember? Ye Han looked at the floor. I remember everything. Lin Yan stood between them, feeling as if she had walked into the middle of a grief that had waited years to finish speaking. You two knew each other. Chen Ruo laughed once, but it broke before it became sound. He tried to save me. Ye Han's jaw tightened. I failed. You opened the door. I thought you were behind it. I was. The room seemed to grow quieter. Lin Yan looked from one to the other. What does that mean? Chen Ruo's face turned toward her. On the night of the blood moon, the teacher locked us in room 801 and told us one person had to be judged before dawn. We thought it meant one of us had to confess. We thought guilt had to be spoken. Ye Han closed his eyes, but the room did not want confession. It wanted selection, Chen Ruo said. A name. A decision. Someone had to become the reason the others survived. Lin Yan's phone vibrated. Memory restoration 37%. The number pulsed in red. Lin Yan stared at it. Restoration, Ye Han stepped toward her. The room is giving you back what was buried. But not all at once. It wants you unstable. Lin Yan almost laughed. It is succeeding. The old phones on the altar lit again. This time they showed video. The image was grainy and shaking like footage recorded on an old camera phone. Roommate 01 appeared as it had been years ago, cleaner, smaller, filled with smoke from candles. 5 teenagers stood in the room with red thread tied around their wrists. No child was there yet. No teacher was visible. Chen Ruo stood in the center holding a notebook. I found the first rule she said in the video. The room cannot keep someone who is unnamed. Zhang Min snapped. Then erase all our names. It doesn't work like that. Luo Qian was crying. Stop reading! Young Yehan stood near the door listening to the corridor. Someone is coming. The video shook. A message appeared on one of the old phones. Select the 5th name. Zhang Min screamed. There are only 4 of us. Another message appeared. Then invite one. The video ended. Lin Yan looked at Chen Ruo. You invited me. Chen Ruo's face crumpled. No. The room answered with another video. This one showed the dormitory infirmary. Lin Yan's mother stood over a sleeping child. 6-year-old Lin Yan lay on a small bed, a crescent moon hair clip in her hand. Her mother was crying silently. Beside her stood the faceless teacher. Your daughter already saw the door, the teacher said. Children see what adults teach themselves not to see. Lin Yan's mother shook her head. She said a girl came to her window. Then the girl has chosen her. That is not possible, it is already done. The teacher placed a phone beside the sleeping child. On the screen, a blank line waited. The video froze before the name appeared. Lin Yan felt the floor disappear beneath her, even though she was still standing. I saw Chen Ruo before that night. Chen Ruo did not speak. Ye Han answered instead. You saw what the room sent. Lin Yan turned to him. Was it her? Ye Han looked at Chen Ruo, then back to Lin Yan. Not exactly. The soaked ghost girl appeared in the corner of the room. No one had seen her enter. She stood beside the altar, dripping black water onto the floor. Her hair covered her face, but under it Lin Yan could see the outline of familiar features. The same chin, the same mouth, the same crescent moon hair clip. Chen Ruo and the ghost girl were the same person. And not the same. Chen Ruo spoke quietly. I am what remembers. She is what the room kept. The ghost girl lifted one hand and pointed at Lin Yan's phone. A new message appeared. The 5th name was not invited. Lin Yan stared at the words. Then another message appeared. The 5th name was prepared. The room shook. A crack split across the ceiling. Red moonlight poured through it like liquid fire. The bunks rattled. The old phones buzzed violently on the altar. Ye Han grabbed Lin Yan's arm. We need to leave. The door slammed shut again. A woman's voice filled the room. You always leave too early, Ye Han. Every candle went out except the red one. Lin Yan turned slowly. A figure stood where the window had been. The woman wore a dark coat. Her hair was long and black, falling over her shoulders with perfect stillness. Her face was blurred not by shadow, but by refusal. Lin Yan's eyes slid away from it every time she tried to focus, as if her mind had been trained not to see her. Chen Ruo fell to her knees. Ye Han's face drained of color. The ghost girl in the soaked uniform began to shake violently. Lin Yan knew before anyone said it that the judge had arrived. The woman looked at Lin Yan. Though Lin Yan could not see her eyes, she felt them moving over her like cold fingers. So this is what became of the clean name, the woman said. Grown, frightened, still useful. Lin Yan's voice came out thin. Who are you? The woman smiled. Lin Yan could not see the smile, but she felt the room smile with her. A teacher. No. Your name. The woman stepped forward. Every red thread in the room tightened. Ye Han gasped and dropped to one knee. Chen Ruo pressed both hands to her throat. The ghost girl bent backward as if something invisible had hooked into her spine. The woman's voice remained calm. Names are dangerous things here. Lin Yan forced herself not to step back. Then why do you collect them to measure them? To kill people? To correct them? The word correction made the room hum. Lin Yan remembered the notebook and the classroom memory. Behavior correction record. She looked at the woman. You punished students. I saved a school. You trapped children in a haunted room. I contained a door that others opened. Chen Ruo raised her head, tears streaking her face. You opened it first. The room became silent. The judge turned toward Chen Ruo. For the first time, anger entered her voice. Careful. Chen Ruo shook as if the word itself hurt her, but she continued. You found the room before us. You wrote the first rules. You used us to test them. The judge lifted one hand. Chen Ruo's body flickered, nearly vanishing. Ye Han reached toward her. Stop! The judge's head turned toward him, still pleading for her. After all these years. Lin Yan looked at Ye Han. Tell me. He was breathing hard, red thread digging into his neck. She was our discipline teacher. Everyone feared her, but parents trusted her. Students who caused trouble were sent to her office. Some came back quiet. Some transferred suddenly. Some were never mentioned again. The judge laughed softly. Teenagers love rumors. Ye Han looked at Lin Yan. We found records. Names crossed out, dates marked under blood moons, room numbers that did not exist on campus maps. Lin Yan's phone vibrated again. Memory restoration, 52%. The room changed. Now Lin Yan stood in a school office. Metal cabinets lined the wall. On the desk were stacks of student files, each tied with red thread. A younger version of the judge sat writing in a notebook. A girl stood before her crying, Chen Ruo. The judge said, You are bright, Chen Ruo. That is why disappointment follows you so closely. Bright students believe they can expose darkness without becoming part of it. Chen Ruo clenched her fists. Where is Wang Shui? The judge looked up. Who? My roommate. She was sent here last week. The judge opened a drawer and removed a small white hair clip shaped like a crescent moon. Some girls run away. Chen Ruo stared at the hair clip. That was hers. Was it? The memory flickered. Chen Ruo stood outside the office later that night with Zhang Min, Luo Qian, and Ye Han. They had stolen a key. They were frightened, but anger pushed them forward. Zhang Min whispered, If we get caught, we're finished. Chen Ruo said, If we don't find out, Wang Shui is finished. Ye Han looked at Chen Ruo. I'm with you. Luo Qian swallowed. I hate all of you. But she stayed. They entered the office. They found the notebook. They found the map. They found room 801. The memory snapped back to the present. Lin Yan looked at Chen Ruo. You were trying to find your friend. Chen Ruo nodded. The soaked ghost girl in the corner touched the crescent hair clip in her wet hair. Lin Yan understood. Wang Shui, she whispered. The ghost girl slowly lifted her face. Under the hanging black hair was not Chen Ruo's face. Not exactly. The eyes were different, wider, younger, terrified. Lin Yan stepped back. Chen Ruo's voice shook. The room kept pieces of all of us. Sometimes it wears my face because I was the first name. Sometimes it wears Wang Shui's because she was the first offering. The ghost girl opened her mouth. This time sound came out. Help me. The words were wet and broken. Lin Yan's chest tightened. How the judge answered. By judging correctly, Ye Han shouted. Do not listen to her. The judge turned to Lin Yan. Every cycle ends when the fifth name chooses. You can end this. Lin Yan stared at her. By doing what the old altar rose from the floor between them. On it appeared 5 red candles, 5 phones, and a black notebook. The notebook opened by itself to a blank page. At the top of the page, words wrote themselves. Trial of Room 801. Judge Lin Yan. Below it were 4 names. Chen Ruo, Zhang Min, Luo Qian, Ye Han. A 5th blank line waited. The judge's voice softened. Choose the guilty name and the innocent may leave. Lin Yan looked at Ye Han. Is that true? No. The judge ignored him. Chen Ruo opened the room. Zhang Min betrayed the others. Luo Qian lied to save herself. Ye Han broke the rule and caused the first death. One of them is the root. Choose correctly and the room will close. Lin Yan looked at Chen Ruo. Is any of that true? Chen Ruo's eyes were full of pain. Parts. That is not enough. It is all the room ever gives. The judge stepped beside the altar. Truth is always partial. Judgment is what remains when truth is incomplete. The sentence crawled under Lin Yan's skin. She looked at the names. Chen Ruo, who had searched for a missing friend and opened a door she did not understand. Zhang Min, whose name had appeared in the chat, but whose face Lin Yan had only glimpsed in memories. Luo Qian, the trembling girl who had cried in every memory, and yet somehow survived long enough to be blamed. Ye Han, who had lied to Lin Yan, saved her hidden from her and existed without a shadow. 4 names. 4 debts, and her own name glowing on the phone in her hand. Lin Yan closed her eyes. She heard her mother's voice from years ago, not from memory, but from something deeper. If someone asks you to choose who deserves to suffer, run. Lin Yan opened her eyes. My mother knew about judgment. The judge's blurred face turned slightly. Your mother was sentimental. She survived the first correction. She was useful. Lin Yan's hand tightened around the phone. What did you do to her? The judge was silent for 1 second too long. Lin Yan noticed. So did Ye Han. The room flickered. A new memory forced itself into the air. This time Lin Yan saw her mother as a teenage girl. She wore the uniform of South River Girls' Dormitory and stood in room 801 with a group of other students. She looked younger than Chen Ruo, maybe 16. Her eyes were full of the same terror Lin Yan had seen in the mirror. The judge stood before them, younger too, but already calm. Each of you has broken a rule, the judge said. Each of you will learn that every action leaves a stain. Lin Yan's mother whispered, We only stayed out after curfew. The judge smiled. Small stains spread. The memory jumped. A girl was missing. The judge wrote in the notebook. The surviving students cried. Lin Yan's mother stood apart from them, staring at the door of room 801. The judge said to her, You have strong eyes. Strong eyes can watch what others cannot. The memory jumped again. Lin Yan's mother, older now and wearing a nurse's coat, returned to the school years later. She looked at the dormitory building with horror, as if she had sworn never to come back. Beside her, 6-year-old Lin Yan held her hand. "Mommy," the child said, "why is that girl wet?" The memory ended. Lin Yan gasped. The judge watched her. "Your mother should never have brought you near the campus. She brought me because of you. She brought you because guilt has gravity. It pulls everyone back eventually." Lin Yan looked at the notebook on the altar. "No, you are trying to make this sound inevitable. It was not inevitable. You built it." The room shuddered. The judge's voice sharpened. "I contained it. You fed it." A crack appeared across the black notebook. Yehan looked at Lin Yan with sudden urgency. "Keep going." The judge turned on him, quiet. Red thread snapped around Yehan's mouth. He choked, unable to speak. Lin Yan stepped closer to the altar. Fear still filled her, but something had changed shape inside it. The room did not like being questioned. Not about ghosts, not about rules, but about responsibility. She looked at Chen Ruo, who wrote the first name. Chen Ruo's eyes widened. The judge raised her hand. "Enough!" Lin Yan shouted louder. "Who wrote Chen Ruo's name first?" The room screamed. Not a human scream. A building scream. Metal doors rattled beyond the walls. Pipes burst to windows, cracked, and every old phone on the altar rang at once. The judge's form flickered, and for half a second Lin Yan saw the outline of a woman's face. Older, strict, terrified. Then the blur returned. Chen Ruo struggled to speak. She did. The black notebook split down the middle. The judge moved toward Chen Ruo, but the soaked ghost girl Wang Shui suddenly stepped between them. Water spread from her feet across the floor, swallowing the red thread where it touched. Wang Suk spoke again. "She wrote mine too." The judge froze. Lin Yan looked at her phone. A new message appeared, but this one did not come from room 801. Room 802, or unknown. It came from a user named Wang Shui. She made us judge each other so no one would judge her. The room went cold. Lin Yan understood. The trials were not designed to reveal guilt. They were designed to redirect it. Every participant was forced to accuse another sacrifice, another fear, another, until all anger, blame, and memory circled among the victims. The real first act remained hidden behind the rules. The judge had not protected anyone from the room. She had created a system where the room protected her. Lin Yan looked at the black notebook. The first judge was guilty. The red candle burst. The judge screamed. Her voice shattered the windows, but no glass fell. Instead, the outside world vanished. The blood moon filled every opening, every crack, every reflection. Its red light poured over the judge, and the blur covering her face thinned. Lin Yan saw a mouth, thin lips, a scar near the chin. Then the judge covered her face with one hand as if the act of being seen burned her. "You arrogant child," she hissed. "You know nothing about what was under that room before I found it." Lin Yan's courage faltered, but she did not step back. "Then tell me." The judge laughed. "You think truth will save you. Truth is the first bait." The floor opened beneath the altar. Not physically. The room remained solid, but Lin Yan could see through it now, down into darkness under the dormitory. Beneath room 801 was another room. Older. Not a dormitory, not a classroom. A square chamber with stone walls, sealed windows, and hundreds of names carved into the floor. In the center of the chamber stood a wooden chair. Something sat in it. Lin Yan could not see its face, but she knew it was looking up at her. The phone in Lin Yan's hand turned ice cold. Location revealed the original room. The words appeared, then vanished. The judge lowered her hand. Her face was blurred again, but her voice had changed. It sounded less confident now, almost afraid. I was not the first thing to judge, she said. I was the first to survive judging it. Yahan tore the thread from his mouth with a sound of pain. Do not let her confuse you, the judge smiled toward him. Still brave when you do not understand. That was always your most useless quality. Lin Yan's phone vibrated. Trial update judge, seat available. The black notebook repaired itself. The blank page returned. This time, only one question appeared. Who deserves to remain in room 801? Below it, the names rearranged. Chen Ruo, Wang Shui, Ye Han, the judge, Lin Yan. Lin Yan stared at her own name. The judge's voice became gentle again. Choose me and you become what I was. Choose yourself and the others leave. Choose one of them and you may go home unchanged. Unchanged, Lin Yan said. No one leaves this unchanged. That is why most people choose someone else. The phone displayed a countdown. Countdown 10 hazard. 10 minutes. The room settled into terrible stillness. Lin Yan looked at Ye Han. What happens if I choose no one? Ye Han's face was tense. The room chooses for you. The judge nodded. And it has always liked clean names. Lin Yan looked at Chen Ruo. Can the room be closed? Chen Ruo looked toward the transparent floor and the dark chamber below. Room 801 can be closed. Lin Yan heard what she did not say. But not the original room. Chen Ruo's silence confirmed it. Wang Shui stood near the broken altar water dripping from her sleeves. She looked small now, not monstrous. Just a girl who had been taken first and used longest. Lin Yan looked at her. What do you want? Wang Shui's answer came slowly, as if each word had to climb out of deep water. My name back. The countdown continued. 9 minutes. Lin Yan looked at Ye Han. What do you want? He looked at Chen Ruo before answering. For this cycle to end, without you taking my place. That is not an answer. It is the only one that matters now. Lin Yan turned to Chen Ruo. And you? Chen Ruo smiled sadly. I want someone to remember us without becoming us. The judge made a disgusted sound. Beautiful words, useless. Lin Yan looked down at the notebook. Who deserves to remain in room 801? The question itself was a trap. Deserves. The room wanted moral certainty. It wanted Lin Yan to believe that suffering could be assigned cleanly like punishment in a school record. It wanted her to accept the shape of the game. But her mother's voice returned again. If someone asks you to choose who deserves to suffer, run. Lin Yan could not run. So she did the only thing left. She changed the question. She picked up the pen lying beside the notebook. It was black, heavy and warm like a bone held too long in someone's hand. The judge stepped forward sharply. What are you doing? Lin Yan placed the pen on the page. Under the room's question, she wrote, Who made the room choose? The room convulsed. The countdown froze at 0716. The judge stared at the page. You cannot write questions. Lin Yan looked up. Why not judge's answer? Not always, Lin Yan said. Sometimes they examine the evidence. The word evidence made the old phones buzz. Images flashed across their screens. The office, the notebook, the missing students, the teacher writing names, Wang Shui's hair clip in a drawer, Chen Ruo finding the records, Yahan blocking the corridor, Lin Yan's mother carrying her daughter away, the judge's hands tying red thread, the original room beneath the dormitory, the figure in the chair. Lin Yan wrote again. First name written by the judge. The red thread snapped away from Chen Ruo. Chen Ruo gasped as if breathing for the first time in years. Lin Yan wrote another line. First offering taken by the judge. The water around Wang Shui's feet turned clear for 1 second. Wang Shui looked down stunned. Lin Yan wrote again. Room 801 trials continued by false judgment. The notebook began to smoke. The judge rushed toward Lin Yan, but Yehan moved faster. He stepped between them and caught the judge's wrist. The contact burned him. Smoke rose from his hand, but he did not let go. Finish it, he said through clenched teeth. The judge's blurred face turned toward him. You always choose the wrong girl. Yehan's eyes hardened. No, I chose the right door too late. Lin Yan looked back at the notebook. Her hand shook. The room whispered around her, suddenly using voices she loved. Her mother's voice. Come home, Yan Yan. A child's voice. I'm scared. Yehan's voice, save me. Her own voice. Choose someone. Survive. Lin Yan closed her eyes for 1 second. Then she wrote, The fifth name refuses to judge the victims. The notebook split open with a sound like bone breaking. Red light exploded from the pages. The judge screamed, and this time Lin Yan saw her face fully. Only for a heartbeat. She was older than in the memories, but not ancient. Her eyes were dark and sunken, her mouth twisted with fury and fear. On her forehead, just above the brow, was a symbol burned into the skin, a circle with a line through it. The same symbol that had appeared on the blank fifth phone. Then the room shattered. Lin Yan fell, not down through the floor, but through memory. She saw room 801 burning. She saw students pounding on the door. She saw Yehan carrying Chen Ruo, then losing her in smoke. She saw Wang Shui under dark water, reaching upward. She saw Zhang Min running down a staircase with blood on her hands. She saw Luo Qian hiding in a storage closet, whispering, I didn't mean to say her name. She saw her mother older standing in a hospital hallway, signing a document with shaking hands. The document read, Memory Suppression Consent. Patient Lin Yan. Reason trauma following South River Dormitory incident. Witness Teacher Shen. Teacher Shen! The name flashed so quickly that Lin Yan almost missed it. Then the memory ripped away. Lin Yan landed on wet tile. She was back in the apartment hallway. No, not exactly. The hallway was half apartment, half dormitory. One side held modern doors and cream walls. The other side held peeling green paint and rusted room numbers. Rain fell from the ceiling, but only on the dormitory side. The blood moon filled every window. Yehan lay several steps away, motionless. Chen Ruo was gone. Wang Shui was gone. The door to room 801 stood open at the far end, but behind it Lin Yan could no longer see darkness. She saw a stairway leading down to the original room. Lin Yan pushed herself up, her whole body shaking. Yehan. He moved barely. She crawled to him and turned him over. His face was even paler than before, and red burns marked both wrists where the thread had been. For the first time, Lin Yan saw his shadow on the floor. It was faint, broken, but it was there. He opened his eyes. "You changed the rule," he whispered. "Did it work?" He looked toward room 801. The door flickered unstable. "For this room," he said. "Maybe." Lin Yan let out a breath that almost became a sob. Where are Chen Ruo and Wang Shui? Before Ye Han could answer, Lin Yan's phone vibrated. The ghost chat reopened. Messages flooded the screen. Chen Ruo has left room 801. Wang Shui has recovered partial name status. Ye Han status pending. Lin Yan status pending. Then a final line appeared. The judge has been named. Lin Yan stared at it. Another message appeared beneath it. Shen Yulan. The name burned red. Teacher Shen. Shen Yulan. The judge. Lin Yan whispered the name aloud. The hallway shuddered. Every door opened at once. Inside each room stood figures in school uniforms, hospital gowns, raincoats, pajamas, and old-fashioned clothes from decades before. Some were children, some were teenagers, some were adults. All of them looked toward Lin Yan. None of them spoke. Then one by one they bowed their heads. Lin Yan did not understand whether they were thanking her, warning her, or recognizing something she did not want to become. The phone vibrated again. Trial result incomplete. Her stomach sank. Ye Han struggled to sit up. No. A new line appeared. Room 801 closed. The rusted dormitory door at the end of the hallway began to fade. The number 801 cracked apart and fell like ash. For one wild second, Lin Yan thought it was over. Then another line appeared. Original room open. The floor beneath the vanished door split into a staircase. Cold air rose from below. It smelled of old stone, wet paper, and something metallic that was not quite blood. From the darkness under the hallway came the sound of a chair scraping against the floor. Slowly, deliberately, as if someone had stood up after waiting a very long time. Ye Han grabbed Lin Yan's wrist. "Do not go down." Lin Yan looked at him. "What is down there?" His expression told her the answer before he spoke. "The thing Teacher Shen found." The phone screen went black. For several seconds, nothing happened. Then white text appeared. Not read. White. Clean. Formal. Congratulations. Fifth name. Lin Yan's reflection appeared faintly in the cracked screen. Behind her reflection, she saw the hallway. Behind the hallway, the staircase. And at the bottom of that staircase, though she could not physically see that far, she saw a room of stone. In the center of the stone room stood a wooden chair. The chair was empty now. A final message appeared. The fifth name was never a participant. Lin Yan stopped breathing. Ye Han read the words over her shoulder and his hand tightened around her wrist. Another line appeared. The fifth name was the first judge. The hallway lights went out. When they flickered back on, Ye Han was gone. The dormitory side of the hallway was gone. Room 801 was gone. Lin Yan stood alone in her apartment corridor, rain tapping gently against the window. The blood moon still hung outside, but now it looked farther away, as if it had withdrawn to watch what would happen next. Her phone lay in her hand, dark and silent. Then the screen lit up one last time. A new chat had been created. The original room. There was only one member inside. Lin Yan. At the bottom of the screen, a message box waited. Above it, pale letters appeared one by one. Please enter the first name. Lin Yan stared at the empty line, and somewhere below the building, far beneath floors that should not exist, a wooden chair creaked in the dark. To be continued.